Shalom Israel. Before I start, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Wahara Kakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles in Israel, who rule and teach well, to the Akims on the highways and byways, and those pushing videos in truth and sincerity, to the brothers and sisters in the truth. Now, what I want to touch on quickly is, what's known as the Mob, that mark. And some people are still teaching that it's a spiritual thing. It's an embargo where you're joining onto the system, you're agreeing with the system. But the thing is, if that is the case, because the scripture teaches you that if you take the mark, that's it. There's no real turning back from you taking the mark. So if it's a spiritual thing and it's you agreeing with the system, with what they teach, what they put in place, then really and truly, for someone like me, there's no hope, because at one point I did agree with the system. I was into their philosophies, I dealt with their religions, their way of life, Christianity. I grew up a Seventh-day Adventist. That's part of their system. Yeah, that's something that I agreed with until I came into this truth. So that would mean there's no hope for me, really. That shows that the mark, or the Mob or Motb, it can't be a spiritual thing. It has to be a physical thing. And the scriptures, what's prophesied in the scriptures manifests in the physical. Yeah. So when you look at what the Mob is, Motb is, that mark, you realize that over time you can see, especially when you look at what's being put in place, this, you see that it's something that's actually physical, and you can see how it can be implemented. And this is what we do. We come at the end of the day, at Yahweh's Messengers, we teach and believe that the Motb is the RFID chip. That's what we teach, and that's what we believe. And the elders and apostles that we learn from, they teach the same thing. So I just want to show a video quickly. I'm not going to play this video. I'm just going to show you the title, because I'd like you to go watch this lesson here from the elder. And he is from GMS Fear the Most High 7 bar. What the brother does, the elder does, says more on the CBDCs and Motb. So he goes in and shows you how they're putting the system in place for this mark to be universal. At the moment in time, when you look at certain countries, main one being Sweden at the moment, I'm going to show a video, you see that they've got this in place. So it's something which is feasible. It's not like what we're saying is far-fetched. And the more time go on, you can see that this thing is being put in place, and it's being put in place right underneath people's nose, and they're not really realizing it. This is why the Most High raise up brothers, elders, apostles to warn. It says, give them warning from me. So if you don't believe what I'm saying, that's down to you. The fact of the matter is the warning is being put out there. And, there is an elect that will actually heed the warning. So check out this video from the elder. It's called More on the CBDCs. That's central bank digital currencies. And that's something I did a lesson on a little while back on the digital currency. This is where is it? Yeah, Slovakia. There's a lesson. I think this is it. Let me quickly find that. Give me a second. There's a lesson I did on digital currencies. Yeah, here we go. Because one of the things they were doing during this pandemic, there was trying to improve or push forward digital currency. Now, it's not fully in place. It's called Coronavirus Chronicles digital dollar and the mark spider's web. So check that out. Now it goes into the digital currency a bit and what they're trying to put in place. And these things don't just happen overnight. Esau's plans are well thought of. You know, like we will think about what we're going to do tomorrow, next week, next month, maybe next year. That's as far as some of us may go, or maybe even 5, 10 years. But Esau is pushing his plans for centuries. Yeah, and they're starting to come to fruition. And this is what we're trying to explain to our people. So like I said, watch this lesson from the elder, you know, showing you how they're putting the infrastructure into place. Yeah, it's called More on the CBDCs and the Motb. Now, this is a video he played, which I want to play some, because you do get camps that are teaching that it's an embargo and so forth. But like I said, if that is the case, you know, you agreeing with the system, I've got I ain't got hope in hell, because I agreed with the system at one point. The scripture teaches, you know, if you take the mark, that's it. So I'm just going to play this and then go into some other bits.
A radio frequency identification is meant as what? A GPS. To find the location. Where's my dog? Where's my dog? Where's my dog?
So you're good to go? Hey, what's up, YouTube? So a senior writer on BuzzFeed decides to push the limits of tap to pay. He starts off by trying to pay for everything he can with just his smartphone. Then he ends up going as far as implanting a microchip in his hand in order to complete his transactions. He actually went to Sweden, met up with a guy in the biohacker community there, and that's who implanted the chip for him. The chip he used was an...
And you find out right about now, the chip is quite big over in Sweden. Yeah, it's quite big over in Sweden. And that's just a start, man.
RFID chip, which stands for radio frequency identifier, and is the same one used to keep track of pets. It left a nasty bruise on his skin at first, but after it healed up, it wasn't as recognizable. In order to accomplish his payment transaction, he had to use Venmo, a payment and money sharing app for Android and iOS. He transferred his Venmo user ID onto the chip in his hand. What this does is it allows any phone to recognize the chip in his hand as an actual Venmo app. So when he proceeds to pay, all the cashier does is tap the NFC-enabled phone onto his microchip implanted hand, and the payment gets registered. In the BuzzFeed video, his justification for doing this is to explore the future of mobile payments. What do you guys think? Is this the future of mobile payments?
Yeah, so that's just what I wanted to show out, that clip there that the elder posted on his channel. And you know, you heard the bishop saying, oh, RFID chip is just to find dogs, you know, which to some extent is kind of right, but because, you know, I'm not going to go into that. But yeah, as you can see from the video, it's not just to find dogs. You see how this guy here is using it, you know. And there's another lesson I did called IoT, Internet of Things, IOB, Internet of Bodies, BCI, Brain Chip Interface, Smart Cities. And these are all infrastructures that are being put in place, you know, to get the mark or the MOTB fully functional and up and running. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. It's a process that will happen. But this process is being put in place, and this is what we're trying to warn our people of. Now, this video here, you know, to show that it's not just dogs RFID chip is used for. Actually, this is to deal with the oh, this was a video, Shane. Slack here. Yeah. This video here is to show that it's not just dogs that's the RFID is used for. You know, it says this video goes back to 2019. It says ID, wallet, keys, all in your hand. Yeah, what do you normally use a wallet for? Wallet is there to carry your cash. So if you don't need it in your pocket anymore and it's on your hand, you'd use your cash to pay for things. So I just want to show some of this video here to show that, this is something which is feasible. And the more you look at what's happening around you, you see that the system is being put in place, but it will go over the heads of most people. Like I said, I'm here to warn and show those who have eyes to see.
The microchip implants use the same technology that's in contactless credit cards, which have made cash pretty much obsolete.
And you can see why now these contactless is being put in place, because what Esau does is very subtle. Remember, the scripture says the serpent in Genesis chapter 3 was more subtle than any beast of the field. Hold on. Let me quickly bring that up. It says the serpent was more subtle. I want to see what that word is. Serpent was more subtle than the beast of the field.
Strong's H 6175. Arum. Second entry. Arom.
So it says subtle, shrewd, crafty, sly, sensible, sly. Let's look at this. Sly. Having or showing a cunning and deceitful nature. So that's what that serpent in the garden was. Cunning and deceitful. And it's the same thing that's happening today with the technologies that's being put in place. Like I said, you got this the video. Yeah, you got the contactless chip cards, which are out now, and all these things are there to make life seem easier, not realizing, or to make you not realize that there's a underlying agenda behind it. Like even over here in the UK, you used to be able to use cash to go on the buses. You can't anymore. You have to use a Oyster card where you prepay on this card. So they're getting rid of cash slowly but surely. Now, let me continue with this video here. Go back.
Much obsolete in Sweden. No cash.
Go back.
Which have made cash pretty much obsolete in Sweden. No cash. At this tech fair, a chipping event for those on the cutting edge, merging their hands with this new technology.
And like I said, over in Sweden, this thing is quite big. Over in China, the smart city is quite big. It's just a matter of time before all these things are incorporated together, because the elites are planning these things. It's not your average Joe Blogs or those of us who may have a bit of money. There's those at the top that's planning these things, because they have their own agenda, which don't include us.
I thought it would be fun.
It don't include us in being a beneficiary of these things that they're putting in place,
Right? The process is simple and swift. A pinch of the skin, and in a matter of seconds, the chip is inserted. The transformation is complete. As for the pain,
I barely felt it.
but even in this nation of early adopters, not everyone is racing to get chipped.
Feel less human. I will feel like a robot. I think, it's so much more data can go into this, when it's in your body.
There's no central registry tracking how many people are chipped, but biohacker Hannes Wellblood estimates between 5 and 10,000.
In the future, do you think everyone is going to be chipped?
I think it will be voluntary, but I am certainly convinced that millions of people will find it very, very valuable to have a smart device under their skin.
And when they say voluntarily, at present it might be voluntary, but then it's like with what's happening now. The government say they won't, force anyone to take the vaccine, you know, it's of your own choice, but then they're putting things in place which is sort of pushing your hand, squeezing your hand to go and take these things. You know what I'm saying? And it's the same thing going to be with the Motb, that mark. You know, they'll say it's voluntary, but then when they're getting rid of things like cash, or, you know, you only can pay by things by some form of a card, or, you know, some form of a chip, then it's still your choice to do that, but they're squeezing your hand in what you can or can't do.
Human microchipping may be our future, but in Sweden, it's already reality. Sarah Harmon,
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Over in Sweden, it's quite a big thing, and it's only a matter of time before it's more popular worldwide. But there's an infrastructure which has to be put in place. This is why I said go and check out the elders video. You know, GMS Freedom also 7 bar, and the video is called More on the CBDCs and the Motb. Yeah. This is 10th of April. Swede gets futuristic high-tech implants in their hands. They're showing you that this thing ain't just for dogs. You know, it may have started that way, but, you know, that's just how ESOL works, man. Why human microchipping is so popular in Sweden. True microchipping are getting under the skin of thousands. Quickly read a bit of this. On the skin of thousands in Sweden. It says microchips implanted into one's body are supposed to make daily life convenient, and that's how this thing is going to be pushed, make life easier. You don't have to walk around with, you know, pockets full of cash or change, you know, your wallet. No one can steal your wallet. You can't lose your wallet. It says they open a perspective to replace traditional keys, see there, cards, IDs, and even train tickets with a microchip. Despite how futuristic this information sounds in 2018, Business Insider published another article with attached video from AFP showing that state-owned SJ, National Swedish Railway, started scanning hands of passengers with biometric chips to collect their train fare. Yeah? Slovakia, Israel. One sec. Yes, Slovakia. Give me 2 seconds. Give me 2 seconds. Yes, Slovakia. So, where was I? Yeah. It says more with the article described implant parties. Yeah, there was a video I found on YouTube. This was last year, called a chip party, where people went there and that's what they were doing, getting chipped. Organized in 2014 by a Swedish biohacking group, Bionifiken. Implant parties are the type of gathering where people can voluntarily get a microchip plugged. To exemplify the significance of microchips in Sweden, it's worth to mention the book called The Swedish Chipping Phenomenon, published by Lund University in 2019. The author, Motb, mentions that Sweden is a unique example of a country where microchipping was accepted on a social level. In her publication, we can also find some data on the number of microchips which were inserted between 2014 to 2018. And so it's showing you that this thing's been going a little while in certain countries, but, you know, at some point it's going to get more prevalent, and the infrastructure for these things are being put in place. This is why, you know, I mentioned this elders video here. It says, this is, like I said, one of the video I did was on a digital dollar, yeah, digital currencies. These all tying together. It says central bank digital currency. It says the bank provides physical money in the form of banknotes, which can be used by households and businesses to make payments. We also provide electronic money, but this can only be used by banks and selected financial institutions. Yeah, a central bank digital currency would make electronic money issued by the Bank of England available to all household and business. This would allow everyone to make electronic payments in central bank money. And, you know, it will be pushed as something which is easier for you to deal with. You don't have to deal with your wallets, cash, you know, losing your wallets, losing cash, etc. If a CBDC were to be introduced, it will be denominated in pound sterling, just like banknotes. So £10 of CBDC would always be worth the same as a £10 note. CBDC is sometimes thought of as equivalent to a digital banknote, although in some respects it may have as much in common with a bank deposit. Any CBDC would be introduced alongside rather than replacing cash and bank deposits. And that's how it will start off. You know, you can have one or the other. And at some point in time, you know that will disappear, because the idea is to get everybody marked up. Now, this is Revelation 13:16. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, that no man might buy or sell. So, you know, if it was you having an embargo or dealing, you know, joining onto the system with their ideas, their philosophies, like I said, I was into Christianity, which is part of the philosophy of the system. But I could still buy or sell, and now I'm out of it. I can still buy or sell if that be the case. So it's showing you that this is a physical thing. It says, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Now, brothers have gone into this before. I've gone into this before, but you know, you got brothers and sisters that's probably new into the truth and need to know this. So there's no harm in repeating. It says mark. Let's see this word mark.
Strong's G 5480. Kharagba.
Says a stamp and imprinted mark. Yeah. Of the mark stamped on the forehead or the right hand as the badge of the followers of the Antichrist. The mark branded upon horses, thing carved, sculptured, graven work of idolatrous images. But as we can see, this mark is something which is imprinted or implanted in this case. Where is that? That's what was happening here. Yeah, having that mark implanted in them. Okay, when you scroll down, it says, from the same as G482, a scratch or etching, i.e. stamp, as a badge of servitude. And that is what this mark is actually doing. You know, it's actually showing, because the Most High says that, you know, the first commandment, have no other gods before me. You taking this mark after the Most High has told you not to take it, because he could have made the mark something else. So if you're taking a chip in this day, you know, nothing would come of it, but it's specifically told you what not to do. This is where the obedience and faith comes in, and that's why taking this is showing to the Most High. It says stamp as a badge of servitude, who you really serve, and there's nothing new under the sun. This is Deuteronomy 15, verse 17. It's, let's start further up a bit more. 15. Deuteronomy 15:15. And thou shalt remember that thou was a bondman in the land of Egypt, and the Lord thy power redeemed thee. Therefore I command thee this thing today. And it shall be, if he say unto thee, and what? Us not taking the mark is a command. Yeah. So you taking the mark is actually directly disobeying a command of the Most High, which has serious consequences. It says, and it shall be, if he say unto thee, I will not go away from thee, because he loveth thee and thine house, because he is well with thee. This is what we're saying when we take the mark, that, you know, we love Esau, we are well with what Esau is putting in place. Then thou shalt take an awl and thrust it through his ear unto the door, and he shall be thy servant forever. And also unto thy maidservant thou shalt do likewise. So it says, and he shall be thy servant forever, showing what? Yeah, that badge of servitude, man. It says, if he shall take an awl. Let's find that. It's lucky. Shall take an awl.
Strong's H, 4836. Motb. Motb.
And that's what it is. An awl. Boring instrument. Yes, something to put that mark. Come back here. A stamp and imprinted mark. Yeah. That's what you're doing, man. Come back here. It's like here. Now there's another scripture with it. This is Exodus 21:6. Then his master shall bring him unto the judges. He shall also bring him to the door, or unto the doorpost, and his master shall bore his ear through with an awl, and he shall serve him forever. So this is what you're doing when you take this mark. Yeah, you're saying that you want to be the servant of Esau forever. You know, you're showing who your master is, and we know you can't serve two masters. Yeah, you're either going to obey one and disobey the other. And our true master, which is Yahweh, he says, don't take this mark. Yeah, so you know, we can only warn you and show you how these things are going to manifest. How you take the warning is down to you. It says, Revelation 14:9, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast, worship the beast, you're saying you want to serve him forever. Yeah, this is your master. Yeah, you love him. Let me go. Let me see what this says quickly. Any man worship the beast. Any man worship. What are you doing when you worship?
Strong's G, 4352. Proskuneo. Proskuneo.
It says to kiss the hand towards one in token of reverence. Yeah, you're not meant to reverence the beast, you reverence the Most High. Yeah, among the Orientals, the Persians fall upon the knee and touch the ground with the forehead as an expression of profound reverence. In the New Testament, by kneeling or prostrating to do homage, yeah, homage, special honor or respect shown publicly. Yeah, so you're openly showing when you take this mark who you're respecting. Yeah, and it's not Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, or make obeisance. It's good to look at some of these words. Make obeisance. A gesture expressing differential respect, such as a bow or courtesy. Yeah, whether in order to express respect or to make supplication. Yeah, it says use of homage shown to men and beings of superior rank. Yeah, we meant to use that to show respect and homage to the superior rank, which is Yahweh. Yeah, when you take this mark, you're showing that Esau is your superior. That's going to get you destroyed, man. Yeah. So Revelation 14:9. The third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast, give homage, obeisance, Yeah, showing who your superior rank is. Yeah, and his image, and receive his mark. Go back to the mark. Yeah, your badge of servitude, who you love. In his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High, which is poured out without mixture. Yes, so you're just getting it raw into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. Yeah, because you're showing who you actually serve. So the Most High is going to disrespect you openly, man. Yeah, openly. So, it's just something I wanted to touch. The MOB, it's a physical thing, man. It's not a spiritual thing. Yeah. So hopefully there was some edification from that. With that, I'm going to close out. I'm going to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Maharakah Kadash, Kwam Yasha Allah.